Today I'm going to tell you about the greatest event in the history of Leix hurling, the 1915 All-Ireland Hurling Final, the one and only senior hurling final won to date by Leix, or Leix as it was then known. By the end of this video, I will have introduced you to the players, given you the game details, set out a supporter's description of the great day, and shown a number of interesting items of the occasion that survive to this day. I'm starting my journey here at the Farran Crossroads in the rural parish of Aghaboe, where this fine monument commemorates the brave sporting heroes of 1915. Back then, the All-Ireland Senior Hurling Final was contested by the county champions. It therefore fell to the men of Ballygeehan to represent Leix in 1915, as they had won their first senior hurling title in the 1914 county final, which was played belatedly on the 9th of May 1915, beating Kilcotton in that final. It was the start of a golden era in Ballygeehan hurling, as they won 5 county finals in a row from 1914 to 1918 under the stewardship of William Phelan of Farran. Led by their captain John Finlay, Ballygeehan had the say as regards the Leix team selection for the All-Ireland Final. Let's have a look at the starting line-out. Paddy Ryan from Ballygeehan was the goalkeeper. The souvenir programme for that All-Ireland Final day shows us that hurling teams at that time had a different formation to that which we are accustomed to nowadays. Joe Dunphy from the Rapla Club occupied the full-back position. In front of him was a line consisting of Jack Walsh of Ballygeehan on the right, Bob O'Keefe of Kilcotton in the centre, and Joe Carroll of Kilcotton on the left. The next line of 3 was made up of Tom Finlay of Ballygeehan on the right, John Finlay of Ballygeehan, the captain, in the centre, and Jackie Daly of Rathdowney on the left. Ahead of them was another line of 3, Jim Carroll of Kilcotton on the right, Ned McAvoy of Abbeyleix in the centre, and Paddy Campion of Rathdowney on the left. In the last line of 3 in the forwards were Jack Carroll of Kilcotton on the right, John Phelan of Ballygeehan in the centre, and his younger brother Joe Phelan of Ballygeehan on the left. Standing at full forward was John Heine of Rathdowney. Of the 15 starting players, therefore, Ballygeehan had 6, Kilcotton had 4, Rathdowney had 3, and there was 1 player each from Rapla and Abbeyleix. As the inscription on the monument shows, 7 substitutes made up the panel: Deegan, Lukeman, Phelan, Costigan, Clooney, Moore and Kelly Sheridan. On the day, only 1 sub, James Kelly Sheridan from Kilcotton, got the opportunity to play when he replaced Paddy Campion, who suffered an injury near the end of the game. Down the road about 800 metres from this crossroads, in the heart of Ballygeehan, is the field where the Ballygeehan players trained. Phelan's Long Meadow has earned its rightful place in the history of Leix hurling and is fittingly marked by this plaque at the site of the pump. An invaluable resource which sheds light on Ballygeehan Hurling Club and Leix and Ossory GAA during the 1914 to 1917 period is kept in the GAA Museum and Archive at Croke Park. Let's dip into some of these interesting documents that are held in what is known as the Higgins Collection, which consists in the main of letters received by John J. Higgins, who was secretary of the Leix County Committee. Here's a club letter, for example, to the Ballygeehan hurlers, signed by John Finlay captain, John Phelan secretary and John Phelan treasurer in March 1916 after the All-Ireland success, but prior to the delayed closing stages of the 1915 Leix County Championship. The letter begins, "For the honour of Ballygeehan, we appeal to you to do your utmost to retain Leix Hurling Championship for 1915. This we can do by acquiring the staying powers and speed necessary for a player to do his best for the whole of an hour's hard play." The letter advises players that, in training, special attention should be devoted to catching, striking as hard as possible, ground play and tackling. Long pucking from goal, free pucks and sideline pucks must be practiced. In conclusion, the writers emphasised, "Remember, Leix are now All-Ireland Hurling Champions and Ballygeehan Champions of Leix, which title you are now called upon to defend, that your opponents will make a determined effort to take the honour from you, and that the unbeaten record of Ballygeehan is at stake." Consisting of 181 separate documents, the Higgins collection is a treasure trove of behind-the-scenes records of a glorious period of Leix hurling. We learn about the Leix and Ossory Training Fund that was set up in 1914 to ease the financial burden of players who would suffer by taking time off work to train. We learn about practice drills and styles of play. We find out about travel and accommodation arrangements for playing in Croke Park, and the arrangement of extra trains to bring the team and supporters to Dublin, and the role and influence of Bob O'Keefe, the Kilcotton player, who not only played for Leix in both the 1914 and 1915 All-Ireland finals, but was an important GAA administrator at that same time. O'Keefe, of course, subsequently rose through the GAA ranks and became GAA president in 1935. His memory lives on both in Leix, where a cup bearing his name is awarded to the Senior Hurling Championship winners, and in Leinster, where since 1950 the Bob O'Keefe Cup is presented to the Leinster Senior Hurling Champions. Here's an example of one of O'Keefe's letters written to Higgins 5 days before the 1915 All-Ireland Final, in which he informed Higgins that Jack Carroll had agreed to play in a new position for the final. He wrote, "Jack got Father Carney's letter," Father Carney being the chairman of the Leix County Committee, "and will play in new position. The only change, I think, not for the better, is that of John Phelan. He is too wild for that place, and besides, McAvoy would play a better, spoiling game on Sheehan. You know, he is the best tackler on the team, and if he did no more than keep down Sheehan, as he did Muckler in Tullow, he would be of immense service." A really interesting aspect of this letter is O'Keefe's reference to caretakers for the team, for which plans were made for them to stay overnight on the Saturday at Wynn's Hotel in Middle Abbey Street, Dublin. Clearly, O'Keefe was concerned that the players might be tempted to enjoy the Dublin nightlife on the eve of the All-Ireland Final when he wrote, "Your 3 caretakers must be very strict on Saturday night. There is no use in depending on any of the players. What about getting 1 or 2 others?" In the end, 4 caretakers minded the team at the hotel, and as they walked to and from Croke Park on All-Ireland Final Day. A previous letter on the 18th of October 1915 from O'Keefe to Higgins also highlighted his concern for keeping the players and the league supporters apart, to the extent that he did not want it to be publicly known that the team would travel to Dublin on the Saturday. He wrote, "Very glad you have decided on going up on Saturday evening. You should warn all the players to keep it quiet. Otherwise, there will be crowds of league supporters on the watch. I have already told 4 of my Dublin friends that we are not travelling on Saturday. You should write to Kingsbridge, the former name for Euston Station, to arrange for a special corridor carriage to be reserved for the team at Ballybrophy. I am sure the company will oblige you willingly. And so, to the All-Ireland Final day itself, and the historic win by Leix, represented by Ballygeehan, over Cork, represented by Redmonds. Much was written in the national and local press in the days following about the famous victory of Leix over the favourites Cork on the wet Sunday afternoon of the 24th of October 1915. One of the best written accounts I've read appeared in the Nationalist, dated the 30th of October 1915, in an article entitled "The Day, Random Notes and Impressions." Clearly the reporter concerned was a Leix supporter who travelled to Croke Park from Portlaoise railway station, then called Maryborough, and this humorous account of the day gives a great sense of the thrilling experience of witnessing, from a supporter's perspective, a Leix team winning an All-Ireland Hurling Final. Here's some of what he wrote. It was D-Day for Leix, and no mistake, the day for which we had longed and hoped and laboured with an enthusiasm and determination of which the Kaiser could never have been capable. The day which will be recalled with pride throughout the county, when John Finlay and the men whom he led are far past the hurling stage. Other All-Ireland finals we may and shall win, but none can ever impart the thrill of our first hurling final of 1915. Did you hear of the priest out Abbeyleix way, who at Mass on Sunday morning prayed publicly for the safe return and success of the Leix representatives? That's something for you. And up to this year, that priest had taken no interest in Gaelic athletic matters at all. Now, if it had been Father Carney. It was like a free fight at Maryborough Station. All the people you knew and all the people you didn't know were there asking you to get them tickets and giving you £1 notes to get them with, and you running about like smoke at a wake trying to get the exact change for your own. All the same, everyone was served, and in good time too. There are various opinions as to who was the hero of Sunday's proceedings. I should say that the booking clerk at Maryborough and his assistant were 2 of them at any rate. Looking back on it, the journey up to Dublin seems like a bad dream. People sat on you, walked on you, did everything but kick you out the window. Stickly little children climbed on your knee and insisted on kissing you and calling you father. Surreptitiously, you gave them tuppence to get them away, and seeing that it was a paying game, they did it again and again. We arrived in Dublin at 20 minutes to 12 and ran the gauntlet successfully through 2 rows of intensely interested spectators. That is the first ordeal you have to encounter on getting into Dublin on an occasion like Sunday, and you do feel horribly provincial under all those critical eyes, don't you? The Cork accent got into town about 1 o'clock. It came in thousands and caused more consternation than a Zeppelin raid. The waitresses in the DPC were in a panic. The most ardent backers of Leix went pale and declared that the team should have been put into a special training on the southern dialect. But you get used to it after a bit. After all, there are more trying things than the Cork accent. The Cork confidence, for instance. They managed things well at Croke Park. The crowd was variously estimated at from 12 to 15,000, but there was no crushing, no delay. You simply walked up and walked in. It was easier by a long chalk than getting a ticket at Maryborough Station. One thing was evident from the reception given the 2 teams. The Dublin people favoured Cork rather than Leix, at the start at any rate. As the game advanced, however, and as the superiority of the Leix hurlers became more and more manifest, the sentiments of the Dublin crowd changed, and in the concluding quarter of an hour, every movement of the Leix team brought forth round on round of applause, while the spasmodic efforts of the Cork 15 were passed almost in silence. There was almost 10 minutes of the first half to go when Leix got their first point. After that, it was a procession, a funeral procession for Cork. We banged in a goal and then another, and just before the half-time whistle went, we added a point, leaving us only 1 point in arrears. What a recovery! 1 point behind, and Heine and the Phelans and the Carrolls and the Finlays and Walsh and O'Keefe and Dunphy and all the rest going stronger than at the start. Oh, there was never any doubt about the result after that. A Dublin betting man who was standing beside me and who previously had been betting 4-1 Leix consulted his book. "Here, I'll take 6-4 Leix," he shouted, and we took it while the money lasted. The layers don't win every time. "Cork are never beaten till the whistle goes," was the parrot cry of the Leesiders all around the rails. Well, they were never properly beaten on this occasion until the whistle went. Who shall write about the last half? We played them up the field and down. We beat them for speed, for strength, for science, for stamina. We beat them till they didn't see the way we went. In the last quarter, they were digging up the ground in square feet. They were throwing their hurls yards away, and our fellows appeared fresher and more dangerous about goal than when the game commenced. What a contrast with last year, when the poor overtrained devils hadn't a leg to put under them after the first 10 minutes. Then the final whistle went, and the Leix team retired from the ground, winners of their first All-Ireland Hurling Final, the most popular and most coveted trophy in the country. Now to some statistics from the game. In the first half, Leix scored 2 goals and 2 points, while Cork scored 3 goals, thereby leading Leix by 1 point at half-time. The first Leix score, a point, came from John Phelan. 2 goals followed from Joe Phelan, and just before half-time, Tom Finlay scored a point. In the second half, Leix scored 4 goals, while Cork scored 1 goal and 1 point. John Heine opened the Leix scoring in the second half with 2 goals. Jack Carroll followed with another goal, and John Heine was on target again with his 3rd goal of the day before the final whistle. So the full-time score was Leix 6 goals and 2 points, Cork 4 goals and 1 point. A 7-point win for Leix. The jerseys wore on the day were the colours of the Heat Football Club, black and amber hoops. Refereeing the 1915 All-Ireland Hurling Final was Waterford man Willie Walsh, after whom the home of Waterford GAA, Walsh Park, was subsequently named. Interestingly, it was Pat Dunphy, a native of Kilkenny City, that was nominated to take charge of that All-Ireland Final. However, Cork objected to Dunphy's appointment because of his close association with Leix, as he was married to Abbeyleix woman Mary Shields, and he lived in the town. After the final, the referee Willie Walsh handed the winning slitter to Pat Dunphy, saying, "This was your game, Pat. Your ball." The slitter remains in the possession of the Dunphy family to this day. Pat Dunphy had a distinguished refereeing career. Between 1915 and 1919, he refereed 5 All-Ireland football finals, and in 1922 he refereed both the All-Ireland hurling and football finals. This photograph, in the possession of the Dunphy family, was taken on the occasion of the Leinster Hurling Final in September 1921 in Croke Park, which was refereed by Pat Dunphy, second from the right. in the company of Michael Collins on the left, who threw in the ball, Kitty Kiernan and Harry Boland on the right. An historic photograph of an historic occasion. Now for a look at some further surviving souvenirs of the day. On display in Heritage House Abbeyleix is Ned McAvoy's hurl. The 1915 All-Ireland medals were presented to the players at a function in Abbeyleix in January 1916. This is an example of one of them, the medal presented to the team captain, John Finlay. These are the boots worn by John Finlay in Croke Park on All-Ireland Final day. And here is the Great Southern and Western Railway Cup, awarded to the winning Leix team, in an era which predated the Liam McCarthy Cup that we are familiar with today. Finally, the referee's whistle, used on the day by Willie Walsh, still in full working order. Apart from the team and substitutes who represented Leix on that famous All-Ireland Final day in 1915, some others cannot go unmentioned. In particular, Father J.J. Carney, the then chairman of the Leix County Committee and curate in Portlaoise parish from 1896 to 1916. He was a key driving force behind the 1915 team, and he secured the services of Dick Drug Walsh from Kilkenny to train the team for the final. Drug Walsh had just retired as a Kilkenny hurler, and he had captained Kilkenny, represented by Moon Coyne, to win the 1913 All-Ireland Final against Tipperary. Due to illness, Walsh missed some training sessions before the final, but he was well enough to attend in Croke Park on the day of the final. And of course, John J. Higgins, Secretary of the Leix County Committee at the time, and also holder of the important role of Honorary Secretary to the Team Training Fund. He ran a drapery business in Portlaoise, and thanks to his stewardship and record keeping, we have the Higgins collection of letters that I referenced earlier in Croke Park's museum. To conclude, I'm going to dip into that collection one more time to read a letter written by John Finlay to John J. Higgins on the 10th of June 1915, 1 month after Ballygeehan had won the Leix County Championship for the first time, and thereby the right to represent Leix in the All-Ireland Championship. As this letter reveals, Father Carney at the time had requested Ballygeehan to play under Bob O'Keefe, the Kilcotton captain, and this request wasn't going down well in Ballygeehan. John Finlay wrote, "I had a card from Father Carney with regards to the team for Carlow. He says he asked Bob O'Keefe to take a team to play Dublin some time ago. He now writes me to know if we would have any objection to him doing so. I think this is hard hitting on our fellows. I wonder, what did we win the championship for? Or if Kilcotton had won, would they give us the selection of a team for Carlow? I'm afraid it is going in a very fair way for bringing disunity among the Leinster team. I am writing to Father Carney this evening also on behalf of the Ballygeehan Club, letting him know the voice of a meeting we held last evening, the committee of which instructed me to write him that as champions, Ballygeehan claimed the right to represent. I am sorry if there is going to be any annoyance or trouble over it, but cannot do better, as I think Ballygeehan will do their best to have as good a team as could be procured. Faithfully yours, J.W. Finlay." And so, history was made on that famous day, Sunday the 24th of October 1915 at Croke Park, when Leix, represented by Ballygeehan, defeated Cork, represented by Redmonds, and earned their rightful place in the county's sporting history, having defeated Kilkenny in the Leinster semi-final and Dublin in the Leinster final in the summer of 1915. a massive achievement for Leix that had suffered a heavy defeat in the 1914 All-Ireland Final to Clare in October 1914. It's no surprise, therefore, that many verses have been written to commemorate these Leix heroes, such as this one inscribed on the monument here at Farran Cross. And their wonderful achievements are deservedly recorded in this comprehensive and well-researched account edited by Teddy Fenley in 2015 to mark the centenary of the 1915 All-Ireland Final. I'm going to leave you now with a final reminder of the Leix team that captured the imagination of hurling people everywhere in 1915 and who inspired and continue to inspire Leix hurling teams for many generations. Paddy Ryan, Joe Dunphy, Jack Walsh, Bob O'Keefe, Joe Carroll, Tom Finlay, John Finlay, Jackie Daly, Jim Carroll, Ned McAvoy, Paddy Campion, Jack Carroll, John Phelan, Joe Phelan, John Heine, and substitute James Kelly Sheridan. From the home of Leice's only All-Ireland hurling title. Until the next time, farewell for now.